Hi everyone, welcome to our live stream. This is Samreen,
Hey, this is Carlos.
and today we're going to be interviewing Tariq. He is like content specialist, basically like runs Project14, and I'll just let him tell us more about it. But let me give a brief intro to Tariq. So Tariq, he runs Project14 monthly project competitions and the Arduino program for the Element 14 community. He's also involved with live streams and events on Element 14, so he does like a bunch of stuff, including what we're going to mention later, like a live stream and giveaway with a Matrix creator. And then before that, he worked mostly with the Ben Heck team. We always talk about the Ben Heck show. And how like Sean and Connor did the grandfather clock project, which we're like super like always excited about. And he was also part of the transition team when it became Element 14 Presents. So with that, we'll switch over to Tariq. Hey Tariq, can you hear us?
Yeah, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, so we're super excited to have you here. We've been working with you recently, which has been, super fun. We had like the dry run yesterday for our live stream with you next week, and that was exciting. So yeah, like just let's hear more about Project14 and like what it is, like what it does, things like that.
Sure. It's basically a monthly project competition. We took a ground up approach with it as opposed to a top down approach. We basically let the community members choose as much as possible. They decide the competitions we run, they decide the winners of the competition, and they decide what electronics they want to buy with the shopping carts they win. And beginning April 3rd, it will be the first live stream on the community where community members are presenters.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Like, I don't think I've seen too many platforms where like, the platform itself is making a space for community members to be presenters, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it kind of ties in with the program. What we noticed early on, there's like a lot of engagement, a lot of members helping other members with projects. And we're kind of like, oh my God, what's going on? I was kind of surprised how that it did as well as it did. But it's always been a really engaging part of the community. I think there's the monthly polls, the fact that the members have choice, they're active participants, and I really feel that they have a strong sense of ownership of the program. When we founded the program, we gave people that were there in the very beginner a founder's badge. Nothing is one person. It was all the community members basically, and we all kind of founded the program together. And even when it comes to judging competitions, we interact and they pretty much run the program.
So did Project14 start as like a community request, or did you just see it and then just try implementing the whole thing?
We have a section of our community known as the top member section. It's basically members that are really good members. They're helpful to other members. We nominate them. They're our most active community members. And it's kind of a private hidden area of the space. And they expressed a strong interest in doing something that was a little lighter than the design challenges that we run. Also, they wanted to have new people come to the community, or people that hadn't gotten started with electronics projects before. They wanted to have something that was entry level, low barrier, and when the program took off, it was basically everyone was participating, and it's been a very inclusive program. Doesn't matter what your skill set is. I think everyone has something to learn from everyone else.
And have you seen like younger learners like join the program? Like like people in high school, yeah, like newcomers.
No, a lot of them are retired engineers.
That's awesome.
They love they love making automated tea dunkers, and jumbo LEDs. I mean, it's a fun program, and in a lot of ways, it was influenced by what I saw with the Ben Heck show, those fun builds. And so we kind of try to, it's got a bit of an edutainment aspect to it, but it's very hard to distill in a few sentences what it is, but it sort of works and makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I think like it's definitely like unique in that like there's like lots of experienced people on the platform that are like very open to sharing their, you know, knowledge, which is super nice. But and also like they still make fun projects even though like, you know, they still have that sort of like excitement of like, oh, let's make something like just for fun. You know, like, you know, it doesn't matter like what level I'm at, or, you know, just like have fun with it basically.
Yeah, and I think the new energy that comes into the community, the beginners, they really excite the experts too. They kind of, it's a sort of a symbiotic relationship where, you know, these people that are new to electronics, they're really excited about getting their hands on an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi or a Matrix Creator, and creating a project that, one of the things great about Matrix Creator is that it is very much, it was very well suited to Project 14 because it basically does stuff that it allows people to do stuff that they didn't know that they could do.
Right.
And so when some of these members that are, very technical see that, it excites them and they're like, oh, you know what, that's fun. I got a fun idea too. Why don't I do this?
Right.
And it's really never been about winning these competitions. Nobody really cares who the winners are, I don't think. It's a small prize, usually like $100 shopping cart, and that usually pays for the next project. But it is really, I call it for the love of the game program. People love electronics and they love, creating things, being creative, having fun, creating entertaining videos along with their projects. It's a lot of energy, and it's really a lot of it's just about having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Tinkering can like make you do a lot of really, like, I mean, mostly educational, but you can come up with like some crazy ideas to, get educated on a subject.
You learn without even knowing that you're learning.
Exactly. And like I feel like that's the best kind of learning, right? When you're like, oh, I just want to try this out and figure it out, and then you like learn so much in the process. Like.
Oh yeah, and then also the bonding that occurs between the members.
Yeah.
They all judge, and then we put down, what the community members say, and people get to hear what they thought about the projects that they voted on, and everything's always been very positive.
Yeah.
I haven't really had to do any sort of moderation. Community members really are very good about self-policing, and it's good for the members. Even if they didn't win and they get some feedback, I'll put that on there because they should know that you wowed somebody in the community, and just knowing that somebody on the community thinks you're awesome.
Yeah.
That's it's a very it really is one of the best things I've been a part of. Not just Element 14 community, just career-wise. It's just seeing the way the community members interact. They're really amazing.
Right, yeah, that's awesome. Like, speaking of like some fun projects, like what are some like super fun projects that come to mind?
Oh, well, there's the automated tea dunker, of course, jumbo LED, thinking cap, the Arduino starter kit case upgraded. There was the semi-automated irrigation system. I could just go on and on.
Right, yeah. So
when we have meetings, I could kind of get myself in trouble because I would just spend like, my 5 minutes like rambling on about the community members' projects. But if you don't look at some of these projects, you're really missing out on a lot. Sean Miller, for example, he had quality videos, and that was like one of the first comments a member made was, this guy should be the next Ben Hatch.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I was like watching it, and I was watching his video, and I was just like, oh, that's the Project 14 webpage. That's really awesome. He put it on his YouTube channel, but I mean, it's flattering, but like the members are really what make, not just Project 14, but the Element 14 community special.
Yeah.
What's funny is that when we first found out about Sean, he posted on our community forum. So we said like, hey, like using the Matrix Creator, we're making this project on Element 14 Ben Heck Presents. And then our innovation manager Alfred was freaking out because he learned soldering from Ben Heck videos and like all this stuff, and he's just having like he's just freaking out. He's like, oh, like our product's gonna be on the Ben Heck show and being featured in a project, and he's just like, it was nice seeing like some of the Element 14 community just you know, because I didn't really engage with the community as much, but like seeing that makes it really exciting to look into it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean Ben Heck was great. I think you guys were at Maker Faire in 2016.
The Miami Maker Faire?
The San Mateo.
I mean, a long time. Yeah, I think that's where you had seen Alfred before, or
no, that was like because the Ben Heck Show team was in Madison, Wisconsin, and that was really the first time I got to actually hang out with Ben Heck.
Oh.
Which was fun. I mean, he and Karen were there, and they would wait up after the Maker Faire, and we would go out and to Maker events, and people would just do show and tells of their projects. And I remember we had just launched Project 14, and I was just sitting there talking to as many people as I could, picking their brains, and I was just like, I was just like, how do I get this right? And I remember late at night sharing a pizza with Ben Heck at the hotel bar, and just talking shop and just ideas. But a lot of the Project 14 program ideas came from just talking to people and the community members themselves. Asked a lot of questions to the community members, what they wanted us to be, going into the top members section, just trying to get everything right.
Yeah, honestly, I think like that's always the best way to go. Like, if you're trying to cater to someone, like ask them what they want, right? Or if you're trying to like help someone out, you need to know what they want. And I think like that's super like it's also I feel like it takes a lot of commitment too to like talk to all of the top members. Like it's a lot of effort, a lot of time. Yeah. So
you got to put your ego in check too.
Yeah.
It is if you're told that you're running, you get a chance to run a program. The temptation is to just make it whatever you want it to be, and all the answers. And I think the approach we took with Project 14 is no, we don't have all the answers. You just talk to many, take the information from as many places as possible, and I put the audience first. Of course, and then, also listen to my managers, and just try to reconcile everything. And, of course, I have ideas. So I think when you do that, when you talk to people and you listen, good things tend to happen from listening.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, we spoke a lot about how the Project 14 community, Element 14 community, is so, strong and, help each other out. What kind of, resources does Project 14 provide to the community, to, help with that, support that, push that forward? Yeah.
Yeah. I think microbit would be a good example. I was approached, about could I tie in a Project 14 with a microbit? Because we needed some projects on the microbit space. And we found a creative way to include microbits with a theme, and it produced a bunch of microbit projects. We have a IoT in the cloud competition going on right now, adding all those projects to the IoT space. So the community is massive. There's a lot of spaces. So it's really been, I'm a content person. So I kind of look at it from the content generation point of view. And I'm just like, oh my God, we could touch on all these different areas of the community with this program. And that's great, And it really organically reflects people's interests because they're coming up with the theme ideas and they're voting on the themes that they want to see. So they're kind of shaping the wider community, even in that small program.
Right.
What I've seen from what's really nice about IoT projects is all the integrations you can do with IoT. So, a lot of projects get to integrate all these open source or at least like existing software with like an API, like Slackbots, Discord, and even some people are using, I think it was OpenHab.
Yeah, that's like a Z-Wave.
It was like a home
Oh, home
automation
automation.
software.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of really like you get to use someone's years of work on an infrastructure and then make that your own on your own custom project in like a week.
Oh, totally. And I think another thing that makes the program a little bit different than just typical design challenge is it's use whatever hardware you want. Even with our IoT competition, you can use whatever cloud service based service you want. We want it to be kind of open ended in a way where we're elemental with themes and people can use whatever technology, and it kind of reflects the way people actually use technology, rather than rather than just focusing on a single cloud provider or service.
Right. So you had mentioned that there were like kind of Project 14 wanted to kind of move away from the design challenges a little bit, make it a bit different. So like are the Project 14 competitions different than the design challenges that happened before?
Yeah, the design challenges are great. They're a lot more intense. They're a lot more advanced. With Project 14, if you're going to start a new program on the community, you have to make it different from what's already there. Mm-hmm. So we didn't want to create another design challenge program. That wouldn't be good. But with the design challenges, they were more supplier driven, for one thing. Whereas the Project 14s were product agnostic. So we've done an open Arduino competition for Arduino Day, but that's a rare exception. Even with the open Arduino competition, we said use whatever boards you want. Arduino in the loosest sense of the word, you could just use the IDE, which you can do with a Raspberry Pi or a BeagleBoard. But we try to, not lock people into the components that they're going to use. And we also, they're the ones that decide what the project competition is going to be.
Right.
So we have a theme poll every month. So right there, the monthly theme poll's different. Design challenges are a lot longer. They're 11 to 15 weeks, I believe. And Project 14s are 2 months. And in Project 14, you can submit a project blog with a video, steps, and just a simple post, and you can win. And that's all you need. You can post more blogs if you want. With design challenges, you need it requires 10 blogs, I believe. Now I'm not an expert on design challenges because I'm not on that program.
Right.
But yeah, so they're both really great programs and they're complementary.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, people like do you have some people going from the Project 14 to design challenges as like the kind of like go up a level?
Yeah, and vice versa. Design challenges are big registration drivers. So a lot of people will come in to the community during a design challenge, and then they might even win that design challenge. It's happened a few times, and then before you know it, you see them on Project 14, and they're regular participants. Yeah. So our members have a lot of choices. They'll see a design challenge they like, and they'll throw their hand on a design challenge. They'll see a road test they like, and they'll do a road test. And they'll see a Project 14. It's really on the community. It really reflects a broad audience interest, and they're free to choose whatever thing they want. And they look at them as, when we started it, they were wondering what's different. Now they look at the two things as very distinct, and you hear a lot of, oh well, that would make. Somebody will tag me on the community, hey, Tariq, that'll make a good Project 14. And the community members also have an idea of what would make a good design challenge, which is great. The programs are distinct. And I think with adding live streams to the Project 14 program, it's going to be even more its own program.
Right. So, like, you have a lot of experience with, you know, like like these maker communities now. You know, like, you know, talking to these people, like, you know, getting to know them. Like, what advice would you have for someone who's new to this, who's trying to get into it?
You know, don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. You know, that's a big thing. You know, don't allow yourself to be defined by others. You know, and it's all right to fail. You know,
Right.
uh, just trying is more than enough. You know, and you keep trying, and eventually, you know, you get better. And even if you fail at something, it's a great learning experience, and we've got a very helpful community where community members are eager to assist you and show you how to do things, and just, you know, have fun, be creative. You know,
Yeah.
that is, you know, in a nutshell, what I tell them is just, you know, keep going at it. You know,
Right.
if you want to create electronics projects, anyone can do that. I believe. You know, and you know, where there's a will to learn, there's a way.
Yes. For sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's the biggest thing people are scared of a lot of times, is like that they're not gonna, that like, oh, I don't know enough, or oh, like I'm not going, like it's not going to work or something like that. Yeah.
Especially in like around high school, if you try to start learning at that point. Not a lot
Yeah.
of schools like try to get. I've not seen a school that like purposely guides you. Like they have you know, computer science classes, but that's more of like the AP Java, and you just learn it to do a test. Not they don't actually like encourage you to go out on your own, make a
Uh,
random robot, play around with Arduinos, learn soldering, wiring. Like they don't ever encourage you to do that,
Yeah.
or most places at least.
Yeah.
I worked for a PHP web development company for the first 7 years of my career, and I asked the, you know, founder one day. It was a small, like 3 to 5 person operation. Uh, I didn't ask him. He once told me, he goes, I would not hire somebody that had a degree in programming. I thought that was weird. You
That's so
know,
funny.
basically all he did was I mean, he was a college dropout pretty much. I mean, he started a business, got straight A's, but decided, you know, I could make money, you know, doing this, and he did. But the way he found programmers was he gave them a really tough question, and then just looked at their code. And he said, like, just looking at their code gave me an idea of what kind of programmer they were.
Hmm.
And he was not impressed by degrees or credentials or anything like that. He would just sit there and look at line per line of code, and he would, you know, that would give him an understanding of how somebody thought and whether or not he wanted to go in business with them.
Right.
That's funny. With another thing about learning from school, it varies on like the classes, but a lot of them don't teach you conventions, or at least, you know, like how to properly comment or how to structure it for other people, so you don't like waterfall your code into someone else and they have to sort out what you made. And like it's nice having like, you know, feedback telling you like, hey, I don't understand, I can't, you know, if you have like a project open, people look at the code, it's like it's a nice project, but I can't understand these comments, or you have zero comments. And
Yeah.
that kind of feedback's very, or at least from what I can
Helpful
see,
too. Yeah.
super helpful for people trying to learn to make projects. Because at the end of the day, most likely people are going to work in teams or collaborate eventually with their code. So having it well structured helps a lot.
I think it's just one of those things too, where you learn by doing.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've worked. I'm not a developer myself. You know, disclaimer: I'm not an engineer. I'm not a maker. I was English major in college, but I've worked with software engineers, you know, for a long time. First 7 years of my career, that's the company I worked for, and yeah, that is something where these people were interested in coding at an early age, usually. They started doing it on their own, and it's something that they have a weird way. They all had weird ways of coding, but they were really good. And it's something that it is kind of like English or art or whatever. There is a very creative aspect to doing code, you know, and there isn't one way of doing things. I think what you're referring to is, you know, some teachers may have a way they like to have things done. But, you know, real world, especially business world, they want things that just work. You know, at the end of the day, you know, and a lot of these people that succeed in stuff like programming tend to be people that are just really, really interested in programming. You know, they just they just took to it. You know, and I don't know if that's a skill that you can teach in a classroom. I mean, I don't agree that anyone that has a degree in computer science shouldn't get a job. And I think, you know, that was probably, anyone that says it's probably exaggerating, but I do think that passion is something that you can't teach, you know, and it doesn't matter what field you are in, programming or content or design. If you don't have passion for what you're doing, you're not going to excel in it.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. I tend to ramble.
No. Like it's interesting to talk about this stuff because, you know, like it's stuff that happens in everyday life that, you know, a lot of times like you see it but you don't talk about it with people. You know, like even with like yourself sometimes, like with myself sometimes I like notice things and I'm like, you know, maybe it's because like I'm not trying it this way, or maybe it's because like I'm not doing it and just thinking about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like just little things like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But also, like, I think it boils down to also, you know, loving what you do.
Yeah.
But if you're getting a job and it's not what your passion is, then that's not. I mean, at least doesn't seem like you're gonna be too happy doing it if you're not passionate about it.
That's for most things.
Yeah, I think you know, basically being passionate about what you do is the difference between mediocrity and doing something that, you know, is great work.
Right.
When you are in areas in your career where you lose your passion for doing something, then you just got to kind of, you know, do a check and say, why am I not, you know, I'm not going to excel in this if I'm no longer passionate about doing it.
Right.
So that's, you know, a real random thought, but, you know, that's something that to keep in mind no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever life.
And I mean, I guess like bringing that back to the Project 14 community, like they all are passionate about, you know, their projects on the community, which is why it's like, you know, doing so well. It's like flourishing.
Oh yeah, like I'll be on vacation, I'll be checking my cell phone for projects on Project 14. I'm like, this is not healthy. I'm supposed to be on vacation, but the thing is, I genuinely get a kick out of seeing those projects just because a lot of them just blow me away. They're so unexpected.
Yeah.
And it is a very thrilling program to be a part of, partly because it's so fast paced.
Right.
You know?
Like there's always people coming up with stuff. There's so many people on there that are all like great thinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and the program continues to evolve and evolve. I mean, we're heading into the second birthday.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And we've run a project competition every month for the last 2 years, and then last year we had 2 special events on top of that. So we had 14 total competitions in a year. So it is it's a lot, but it's very much a labor of love.
Right. Yeah, we were super excited to be on the live stream next week. It's also coincides with the birthday, so
yeah, that went in really nicely. I mean, I think it was meant to be.
Yeah, so super excited to be on there and see all the projects from the community and like talk to the community members. It'll be super fun. So I think we're, you know, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm sure everybody's super excited about Project 14. Would you like to share anything else with our viewers before we close out?
About anything or about the live stream coming up.
Anything you would like. Yeah.
So for the birthday celebration, we're going to do a Month of Robots competition because robots are extremely popular on our community. We did an end of year poll where we asked what theme would you like us to reuse. They suggested robots with wheels. Some community members came back to me and they're like, basically, well, does it have to have wheels? I'm like, no, we just have like open-ended robotics competition, and we're going to throw in 3 app-enabled R2-D2 droids, along with a Arduino engineering kit and a Marty robot, just robot prizes just to make it fun. and $200 shopping cart.
That's
So,
awesome. Those
yeah.
R2D2 droids are great. We have one in the office. One of our coworkers brought it, and it's just here. It's the Office R2D2.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's great.
We actually did a poll before the birthday special started, and we asked them what their favorite community members, what their favorite droid was from Star Wars, and R2D2 won hands down. Although it's getting close. I think BB-8 picked up some points. C-3PO got some love. And my favorite is K2SO. I mean, that guy just says whatever he's thinking. I love it. There's no filter.
That's great. Yeah, so that's super fun. Excited. I kind of wish I could. Could I? I don't know. Maybe I'll compete. I don't know. We'll see.
You can compete, but I might not put you on the qualifier.
That's okay. I'll compete for fun.
I don't know. I might not. You might. But I would love. Post away.
Yeah, no.
I would love to see what you could do with that. I mean, there's a robotics competition, and then later in the month there's a NFC RFID competition, and there's an electromagnetism competition going on currently, along with IoT in the cloud. So a lot of things happening.
Yeah, that's great. All right, well, it was so great talking to you. It's like you have so much experience to share, and it was great to learn more about the Project 14 community. And we'll see each other next week. So
yeah,
that's great.
It's coming up close.
Yeah, super close. So, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye, Tariq.
Yeah.
Bye.
Was it good?
Yeah, so we're back to this camera. So yeah, that was super fun. Tariq is great to talk to. Has a lot of passion and experience with this Project 14 community. Knows a lot of the community members pretty personally. So I'm excited for next week's live stream. And excited for people who get to win the R2D2. Even though I probably won't be one of them. But it's okay. All right. So announcements wise, be sure to check out the live stream next week. I will actually already put the link in the description. And you can sign up for a Project 14 account and then sign up to attend it. You might be able to attend it without signing up for an account. I don't know. But if it's I want to check out Project 14, definitely check out the live stream. And yeah, so anything else you want to add?
For the Matrix Light libraries?
Yes, go for it.
So for the Python library, we recently had we recently made a push where now we've added some extra quality of life features. So similar to the Matrix Light for the JavaScript version, the Python version now you can set your LEDs with a string. So matrix.set LEDs, and then you can just put in red, blue, all the LEDs will just turn. Easier sensor calling, some GPIO implementations, and some microphone implementations with ALSA should be coming soonish.
Okay.
So, that's there to try. We also have it as a pip package. PyPy. So if you wanted to, the installation process is a lot easier.
Right. Yeah, it's just it's literally pip3 install Matrix Light or something like that. Yeah, it's super simple. I tried it out today, and it looks very similar to the JavaScript code too, syntax, which is functions, which is super nice because then you can switch between Python and JavaScript for whatever you do your different projects and not be confused by the syntax. So that's super nice. All right, so stay tuned for more Matrix Light updates, and
and for next week we won't be doing live stream. We'll be doing the Element 14 stream.
Yeah, we'll be doing the Project 14 stream, so we won't be having our own live stream. So tune into that, and you'll be able to see your favorite people, next week as well. Okay, so I think we're good for this one.
I think it's good. All right.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.